remember when you were young, you shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy diamond.
Hello everybody, Steve from Dark Side of the Wall here again. Welcome to our Shining On in Lockdown vlog. We're up to episode 5 now, which is pretty amazing really, considering this all started a few weeks back as we entered into this crazy situation. Courtesy of a phone call between me and Louise, who she suggested that we should do something now we can't play. And here we are, up to number 5. Firstly, thank you very much to Tony for last week's tour of his drum kit and giving us a bit of an insight into how he became a drummer, and particularly Dark Side of the Wall's drummer. I hope you're all staying safe. That's the important thing right now, and easier said than done following Sunday's list of extensive contradictions. But obviously that's the main important thing. Let's hope that we can all come out of this situation at some point in the not too distant future. Our gig list has been badly affected, of course, and to say it's fluid is a bit of an understatement. We've had to cancel shows this month in Coventry. Next month we were due to be in Worcester. July we were due to be in Grimsby. All of those are now gone by the wayside and awaiting reschedules. We have got a gig booked in Leicester at the Musician for August the 15th. Again, whether that takes place is questionable at the moment. We'll just wait and see. After that, we've got 2 shows, big shows actually, booked for the end of the year in November and December, respectively at the Ben Hall in Rugby and the Mill Arts Centre in Banbury. I believe tickets are already on sale for the rugby one. But again, it's just going to have to be a case of wait and see. So anyway, let's crack on with vlog number 5. The band member who's stepped forward this week, very bravely of course, is the one and only Mick Freeman, who is our lead vocalist, as I'm sure most of you already know by now, and of course our multi-talented instrumentalist, bit of a virtuoso on cowbell. But we'll be talking about all of that as we have a chat via Zoom, and I'm going to dial him up now. So here he is. Hello, Mick. Good to talk to you, mate. How you doing?
All right, long time no see. I miss your chutty face, I have.
Right, okay. I was hoping, not being on stage, that you'd have forgotten about that name by now. So how's lockdown treating you and your lovely wife Linda over there in Bedworth?
We're okay, yeah. We're sort of struggling by. I'm working, but Linda's furloughed at the minute, so she's a bit more stir-crazy than I am. But we'll get through it.
Even without gigs, that's what's making me stir-crazy, I must admit. Yeah,
definitely. Really miss that.
Yeah. And, right, okay. Well, actually, before we start talking about anything else, I've asked everybody this who I've spoken to. Have you now or ever owned a budgie?
Never, no.
What?
Never owned a budgie, no.
I think we may have to reconsider your position. Right, okay. Pink Floyd. When did you first start listening to Pink Floyd and how?
The first time I heard Pink Floyd was at school. A friend of mine, Alan, I think he pinched his brother's copy of Dark Side of the Moon, brought it into school, and we sat in the chemistry lab where there was a record player, a crowd of us, and huddled around it and listened to it from start to finish one lunchtime. And I was kind of amazed by it, to be honest. Never heard anything quite like that at that time. And that was the start of it for me.
Yeah, and I think it's true of a lot of people. Dark Side of the Moon is the sort of gateway into Pink Floyd, isn't it? And it's everyone I speak to, that album tends to be the one that they listen to first. Right, well, let's talk about singing then. When did you first discover you could use those pipes like you do?
Well, I guess I've always been able to sing. It's just family and friends mentioned it. You know, you've got a voice there. You can hit those notes. You can, sort of project it a bit. You should do something with it. But I never really did. But I always enjoyed singing. I had a little go on karaoke every now and again, and it always seemed to be well received. So, that kind of put it in my mind that maybe one day I'd I'd like to be in a band at some point, but I didn't think it'd be Dark Side of the Wall because I was a bit of a fan. Obviously, I used to come to a lot of the gigs before I joined the band. Always had to pay, by the way. But, that's another story.
So, by definition, then, Dark Side of the Wall was your first ever band?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Right, okay. So that must have been quite a big step to take then. Because I remember, you joined us in 2004, and it was at that time when we were looking to change things in order to carry on, because we got 3 prominent members leaving, including the lead vocalist, and we auditioned 3 or 4 different people, and you came along, and courtesy of our mutual friend Mr. Cosgrove.
Yeah, Cozzy, I've known for years, and that's the reason I used to come to the Dark Side of the Wall gigs anyway. But yeah, he kind of dragged me physically. He came around my house, picked me up, and dragged me along to an audition. He said, they need a new lead singer, and I reckon you're the man for the job.
But yeah, I remember the rehearsal and, the audition, and you turned up, and I think the first thing you had a go at was learning to fly, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember it well, yeah.
It's learning to fly. Comes around, turns its right. My eyes from the circling skies. Tongue-tied and twisted, just an earthbound misty eye.
I often think back to that evening, and I at the time I thought, well, if I die tomorrow, I've sang with a rock band and Dark Side of the Wall, which I knew obviously very well. I could die a happy man now, but obviously that didn't happen. But
like 16, 17.
That's how I felt afterwards. I was really elated by just being able to sing with you guys, just in a rehearsal room. Never mind doing a gig.
Oh, right. Well, we were all excited because, as soon as you sang Learning to Fly, I seem to remember looking around the band and we were going, hang on a minute, we're onto something here, because who'd have thought we've had all these guys with all this experience turning up and trying to be the vocalist, and in the end we've got Cozzy's mate who's never done it before. And I think you were offered the job on the night, weren't you?
Yep, I was obviously the best looking one,
Of course.
and so I got the job.
You made your debut before the other guys, Andy Nixon and John Murdoch, who joined at the same time. But that was because we were rehearsing the next lineup in the background whilst fulfilling the commitments for 2004 with the outgoing lineup, weren't we? But on one of those gigs back in November, Jim, the singer who was leaving, he couldn't make it, so we called you up to the plate, didn't we? What do you remember about that night?
Well, I got thrown in the deep end there. Yeah, I remember it was Stony Stanton Club, and the place was absolutely rammed. I remember getting up on stage and my mouth going completely dry. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth when I tried to sing. But got through the first half to the interval, and it seemed to go okay. I was having a drink at the bar and then realised I'd got to do a second half and got filled with dread again. But I think it turned out okay. We got a good reception at the end of that one, and it was, for me, it was a real privilege to be on stage with the lovely John Wall, who obviously formed the band and everything. And I was a big fan of John's, obviously watching the band before I joined it, and I was in awe of him. And to actually get the chance to share the stage with him, I'm forever grateful, to be honest. It was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Well, as someone who's shared a stage with him many times, I can understand that. Yeah. Brilliant to do that, and I'm glad you got the opportunity. Did you feel part of it really early on? Did you didn't feel like the new boys for too long? Hopefully.
No, well, we rehearsed for so long. I think it was 6 or 7 months before we actually did a gig with the new lineup. So we were all pretty good friends by that time, and it didn't feel like the new boy.
And I think one of the things that you brought to it, and probably going back to Cozzy beforehand, was that you bring a sense of fun and entertainment to what we do. Because I've always had this belief that Dark Side of the Wall are different to the other Pink Floyd bands in the sense that we bring our own personalities to the stage, don't we? And hitting that balance between being a tribute band who take the music seriously but still providing entertainment is really important. And I think obviously you're a key role in that. You're conscious of that and just sort of being aware that we've got a show to do, really.
Yeah, I mean, the music is serious, and try to give that authenticity, but at the same time, I like to have fun. I'm a bit of a show-off and tend to play to the crowd a bit. So
I've just come over. I know you do lots of daft stuff, don't you? And I mean, take a song like Mother, for instance, where we play it musically as authentically as you possibly can, but there's that bit in it, for instance, where you hold that note for ages. It's just like till you're red in the face. But again, that's something that's sort of developed because of you being there.
But yeah, it's a little bit of fun, and have a little bit of a dance with the guitar people, John and Adrian, as well, while we're doing it. And yeah, it's great fun.
And of course, there's a bit at the end of the night on Run Like Hell where you and I do that running bit at the end. We've been doing that for probably too many years now, mate.
I think we have, yeah. I think that's probably tipped both my old knees off the edge of my... Yeah, getting on a bit now, buddy.
It's all those years kicking young'uns on Saturday afternoon football pitches in Coventry when you were a younger fella. Yeah,
it's probably paying the price of that, yeah, definitely. Talking of Coventry, see my diamond glass? This is my Coventry City. It's orange juice, by the way.
Right, is that their only trophy, that one?
It's my only trophy. Coventry City won the FA Cup in 1987. Something you Leicester City fans wouldn't know too much about, I think.
Yeah, we just had to settle for the Premier League, never mind. Vocal styling, because I remember we were on a radio show in Leicester, Radio Leicester it was, and there's you, me, Mick and Andy, and the interviewer asked a very good question, actually, asked about whether you mimic singers in Pink Floyd or do you adopt another approach to it, and you gave an answer which I'm sure you can remember. Just explain.
Yeah, he asked if I did a different voice while I was singing. I said no, it's my own voice, but what I do is I sing in an English accent. I think it's important that the crowd hears a bit of authenticity.
There is no pain you are receiving. A distant ship's on the horizon. You're only coming through in waves. Your lips move. I can't hear what
You couldn't stand up there and sing "Shine On, You Crazy Damo," could you? You wouldn't just want to stand there.
you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? Yes, you behind the bike sheds. Stand still, laddie.
So, yeah, I've listened to it very intently and tried to get the phrasing correct, and obviously the accent is a big part of it.
Yeah, and I tell you, and of course Pink Floyd's music quite varied in the sense that there are songs where you have to have a rockier approach, and then there are other ones where it's a bit more emotive, like On the Turning Away and Wish You Were Here, for instance.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies and rain? Can you tell green green from a cold steel rain? The smile from a veil. Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for gold?
And I guess you have to sort of listen to the originals and work out how they do it. Because traditionally they've had 2 or 3 vocalists, haven't they? But in our band, you pretty much take on 95% of it, I'd say.
Yeah, Taz does a bit now, doesn't he? Two lines, Taz.
Yes. You love that, don't you, mate?
Absolutely love every moment of it, yeah. No, he does a great job. He really does. definitely. But yeah, you do have to, for different styles of songs, such as the more intense ones, such as Have a Cigar.
Well, I've always had a deep respect for the way that both sincere. And it's just fantastic that it's really what I think. Or by the way, which one's pink?
Songs like The Gunner's Dream, On the Turning Away, Breathe, just step back a bit and sing a bit more quietly.
Through the clouds, memories come rushing up to meet me now. But in the space between the heavens, in the corner of some foreign field, I had a dream. I had a dream.
I know you're the singer, but you've got some musical instruments, so yeah, haven't you? Show us your instruments, Mick.
My instruments?
Yeah.
Do I need to stand up for this now? I've got the famous cowbell. And this was given to me by Cozzy when I got the job with Dark Side of the Wall. So this has actually been in the band longer than me, probably longer than you too.
Yeah.
And I haven't altered it in any way. It's got the old duct tape around it to try and dampen it, because this is the loudest cowbell in the world. You can't get enough cowbell, let me tell you.
No, go on then, hit it for us. How loud is it?
The stick, as you can see, is not in the best condition. It's one of Tony's old ones that he broke, but yeah, if I break it, I'll just get one of his. There you go, authentic.
Really? So you travel light to gigs?
I do, yeah, but I do help John get his keyboarding, because he lends that to me uncomfortably, and I'm going to play a little bit on that. No, a keyboard. I did have a keyboard when I was a kid, really, from about 8 or 9. But then I traded it in for a rally chopper when I was 13. So that was the end of that. But yeah, that probably started off me interested in music, really, playing a bit of a keyboard when I was a kid.
Yeah. So over the years then, what would you class as your sort of memorable gigs?
The most memorable for me are the first gig and the last gig.
Right.
Because the last gig we did was Tamworth Assembly Rooms. When was that? Back in March. And it was a fantastic night. Lovely venue, lovely people to deal with, very helpful. Everything went smoothly, and we actually played out of our skins that night, and the audience loved it. So that's the most memorable at the moment. But apart from that, the very first one that we've already talked about at Stony Stanton, the Dark Side of the Wall that I used to go and watch, and I became part of that for one night, and it was great. Yeah, so I'll never forget that.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I can appreciate that, and almost 200 gigs in between. So yeah, you're a bit of an old stalwart now in the band.
200, blimey, yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, one of the good things, and I think you and I are very conscious of this as well. After gigs, we like to go and meet people, don't we, in the bar afterwards and talk to them. And I don't know about you, but I always think that's one of the nicest things about being in this band is meeting all these like-minded Floydies afterwards. And Darkside's got some of the best.
Oh yeah, it's great fun to see people afterwards and thank them for coming to see us, because if they didn't come, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. We get great pleasure from it, so it's great to see them there, and it's nice to chat to them and appreciate them. So yeah, it's great.
And I will apologise to anybody if there's any sort of delay coming through on the Zoom feed. It's not the best connection that we got here, is it, mate?
It's a bit slow. Yeah, it's 1974 where I am at the moment, so.
Yeah, always has been in better. Yeah. So, okay, well, I'll wrap it up then and say thanks very much for your time, mate. Really appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you soon again, buddy.
Okay, thanks very much, mate. See you soon.
Well, big thank you to Mick there, my co-manager of Dark Side of the Wall. Thanks for sharing your time with us, mate, from your home over there in Bedworth. who's going to be up next week? We'll see. We're running out of people now, I think. We've got our 2 keyboard players, Pete Riley and John Murdoch. And then, of course, me and Lou. And we've been very carefully keeping ourselves at the back of the queue. We'll have a think and talk to those 2 guys and see which one of them is going to stick their head up over the parapet for next week. Look forward to it, whatever, as always. And meantime, obviously subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, and leave comments, leave feedback. Let us know what you're thinking. Always good to hear from everybody, and never more so than in this time where we can't get out and see you live at the venues. Until then, please stay safe and shine on.